Hey, do you want to watch The Notebook?
Sure, I love The Notebook.
I've never seen it.
Wow, have you seen any movies based on the novels of Nicholas Sparks?
Nope.
What if we watched all of them?
I'm willing to try anything.
Sparks, 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 sparks.
Notes.
My name is Whitney,
And I'm Zach.
and this is Sparks Notes. This is a limited podcast series where we watch and review every movie that's based on a book by Nicholas Sparks.
We're starting in chronological order. So that means
Yes,
this episode is going to be about Message in a Bottle,
yes,
very first Nicholas Sparks adaptation from
yes.
1999.
And also just to note that we are not interested in the books at all. Don't care what those books are, really. We only care
Yeah,
about the movies.
which is interesting because you're a librarian, so I
Yeah,
would think
but
you might be interested in the books.
I'm just simply not.
Have you read a single Sparks book?
I read A Walk to Remember in eighth grade.
How was that?
It was okay. It was right before the movie came out, and my friend spoiled something, which I won't say because I know you have not seen it or read it, but
Hmm.
my friend spoiled it. We were literally in class. We had just taken a test, and she finished early, so she was just like reading at her desk, and she dropped the book and literally yelled out, blah, 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 like a giant spoiler of the movie. So unfortunately, I knew kind of something major about it going in,
Hmm.
and we will discuss that I think the next episode. But that's the only one I read, and I don't know. I don't feel like it was probably that good, but I was like 13, so maybe I liked it then.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely have not read a single Sparks book, but as of this record, we've already watched a few movies, and you thought you might as well start a podcast since we're doing this project anyway.
Yeah, I thought it would be fun since we have 11 movies to watch and we're already doing it and talking about them.
Yeah, and I already have one podcast, so might as well have another.
Yeah, do you want to add a little plug for your podcast?
Yeah, I can plug my podcast, Film with Family, which I've been doing for a couple years now with my cousin, Austin. And we just talk with my different family members, like my mom and my grandma, my siblings and cousins, my aunts and uncles, about their favorite movies and new movies. It's a family affair.
Do you know if they're fans of Nicholas Sparks?
I don't know. I'll have to ask around.
Yeah.
I'm sure I know my mom was like kind of a fan of The Notebook, and she was shocked when I told her I'd never seen it. It's like you'd have to see it.
Maybe we can get a quote from her and we
Yeah.
can use it. Okay, so Message in a Bottle came out in 1999. Um, it stars Kevin Costner and Robin Wright. I think during this movie she was technically Robin Wright Penn, but
Oh, okay.
I would like to refer to her only as Robin Wright. I think that's respectful.
Was she married to
And
Sean Penn?
yes,
Okay. I didn't know
you didn't? Wow.
that.
I feel like you've already are learning a lot
Yeah.
just of general knowledge from these movies.
Hmm.
And then Paul Newman is kind of the other big name. Um,
Yeah, he plays the gruff dad of Kevin Costner.
yeah. Should I give like a synopsis of this movie?
Well, I kind of wanted to watch the trailer.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Dear Catherine, forgive me for being so angry when you left. I feel I've been lost. No bearings, no compass. You were my true north. I could always steer for home when you were my home. I still think some mistake's been made. I'm sorry I didn't hold on to you with so much strength that even God couldn't pull you away. Signed, all my love, G.
He wish it was addressed to Dear Teresa.
Any girl would want to be loved like that.
I mean, to be somebody's true north,
Are you kidding?
Oh, don't you think it's brave to love like that in this world? I think we should trace these letters.
This letter was probably typed within the last 5 years.
So he's out there, and he could be young.
The stationery and typewriter checkout.
So you find this guy, and then what?
Take a risk.
You got him, Teresa.
Give $1 million to see you grab onto that girl and figure it out as you go along.
It's not your business.
Make a fist. Now you hit me. My son is not my business. Choose between yesterday and tomorrow.
Wow.
Wow.
Who does that song that's in that trailer?
Natalie Imbruglia.
Oh, it's Aruglia.
Imbruglia.
Ed Bruglia.
Dude, that song was not in the movie, I don't think.
I do not think so.
Yeah, Torn by Natalie Imbruglia is one of the best songs of all time, in my personal opinion. So,
Yeah, it's used very well in that trailer. Yeah, I'm looking at the OST, the soundtrack for this movie, and I don't see those in there, but they do have Hootie and the Blowfish, Sarah McLachlan, and Faith Hill. Sheryl Crow is also on the soundtrack. But what was
wow.
a big surprise for me was No Message in a Bottle by The Police. I was really expecting that.
I mean, the vibe of that song is like not quite the same as this movie, but I would have respected it if they had done that. If what's the director's name? Luis Mandoki.
Yeah, maybe it was too obvious of a choice for Mandoki.
If Mandoki was like, I don't care what you say, anyone else, put the police in here. I would have liked it, honestly. And I love that song.
I think it would have gave the movie a little extra juice.
Probably. I think it probably needed a little extra juice. So yeah, this movie is literally about a message in a bottle.
And she finds the message in a bottle almost immediately, which is
Yeah.
we were very excited by.
I mean, I was surprised that they gave that away. They showed it's like literally the first minute of the movie, 2 minutes.
Yeah, she's just running on the beach and she finds it, right?
Yeah. Okay, Robin Wright is Teresa and Kevin Costner is Garrett.
Garrett.
So Robin Wright, aka Teresa, is just like running on the beach and she comes across this bottle and reads the message. As we heard in the trailer, it's very like sad and romantic and like
Yearning.
yearning, beautifully written, and she gets like super like hung up on it and obsessed with this note and wants to find out who wrote it. And of course, she works at the Chicago Tribune. So
Hmm.
she uses all of her fancy newspaper connections to track down the person who wrote this letter, who turns out to be Kevin Costner.
Suffice it to say that she goes down and finds this Kevin Costner and they go sailing together and they have a bit of a spark.
They definitely they go sailing together and yes, the sparks are flying.
Very mild sparks, I would say. You know,
Yeah. Didn't the rating say that there it was like PG-13 and it was like a scene of a sexual nature or something like that?
yeah, it has one sexual scene, yeah.
Yeah, and it was pretty mild, which kind of surprises me just because like ratings back in the 90s were I feel like you could get away with more.
Yeah, but I guess from what I've seen of Nicholas Sparks movies so far, none of them seem to be that explicit.
That's true. That's true. I feel like they all have like this slightly religious undercurrent, you
Yeah,
know?
some kind of
So like,
Christian uh,
yeah.
code of ethics, maybe.
Yeah, this one wasn't super obvious about it. I don't think there was much like religious talk in this one. There is in some other ones, but I feel
Hmm.
like maybe that's why they don't show too much. Um,
Yeah, but also Kevin Costner, he's just very low key guy,
he
very
is.
stoic.
Yeah. I am curious about what you expected this movie to be like going in. Did it like live up, or was it different than your expectations?
Well, I think I was maybe a little bit more excited for this one than or some of the other ones I've seen on the Nicholas Sparks adaptation list just because it's older and I like Robin Wright and Paul Newman and I have a relationship with a lot of Kevin Costner movies. So I was like, this was
Personal, a personal relationship.
yeah, so it was like just based on the cast, like I think I felt like we're in good hands there. I did kind of enjoy it. It's fine. It wasn't great,
Kind
but I
of.
but the vibes were like not bad, honestly. And I was like, I was totally watchable, even though it's kind of long and
Yeah.
boring at parts.
It was watchable, but incredibly boring.
Right. That's kind of how, what were your expectations?
Honestly, they weren't super high, and this is gonna make me sound maybe like a bad person. But I always thought of this particular Nicholas Sparks movie as being one of the ones about like older people. And I think it's because when it came out, I was probably like 10. And
Hmm.
I was like, wow, Kevin Costner is like 800 years old. So in
Yeah.
my head, I was imagining this being about like senior citizens, which it isn't. They're like pretty young in it.
They're middle age. It feels like, or they're at least in their 30s or so. I mean,
Yeah,
he has a dead wife.
which is how old we are, but in my head I was like they're ancient and that this is going to be like so boring. So my expectations were kind of low. And then when I actually realized, I was like, oh, they're like not really old or anything.
So she does have a kid. She has a son, so they've lived some life, you
They
know.
have, yes, they both have lived life in different ways. So I didn't have super high expectations, but I was curious just about it being like the first adaptation, just to kind of see like how it was gonna go.
Hmm.
I didn't hate it. I really didn't. It was like the first half I thought was pretty enjoyable, honestly. Like
Yeah.
the lead up to the two of them meeting and like the mystery of the bottle and everything. And then it did like start getting kind of slow at the
Yeah.
end.
Oh yeah.
There was that period of time because they live in different places. She lives in Chicago and he lives in the Outer Banks, North Carolina.
Yep.
And there's this like time where she goes home and then they're just like talking on the phone and like sometimes visiting each other. And it's just kind of like, well, maybe someday we can be together. Maybe the timing will be right eventually. Maybe we'll see. And just like nothing happened for it felt like a really long time.
Yeah. I feel like maybe it would have been better if there was less back and forth and maybe she just kind of stays in North Carolina and they just kind of figure out the story from there maybe.
Yeah.
But
Or if there was like one moment where she's like, I have to go back, and then she just goes back, and then like that's the decision.
yeah, it's a little too much back and forth. It's like a little bit, what are we doing here? And it's over 2 hours long.
Yeah.
But I agree, the beginning was it kind of pulls you in pretty good, and I like the her Chicago Tribune kind of her coworkers, and there's kind of a fun vibe there
Yeah.
with that cast.
Yeah, I really liked that. And honestly, I want to say my favorite part of the movie is the like newspaper forensics that she does to find the bottle.
Hmm.
They were literally like having someone analyze the cork,
Yeah,
and the guy's like, the cork has been in the water for 2 years. And they
yep.
like could had someone look at the typeface and the ink on the letter and all this stuff to determine like how long ago it had been written. And
Hmm.
I thought that was really funny and fun.
Yeah, I also at one point they show her computer screen. It looks like she's hacking into the Matrix, which
I
is
do not know what that was. I was like, is this what it looked like? I know that wasn't what it looked like to like search for things online in 1999 because I was alive and I had a
yeah.
computer. And I was asking Jeeves stuff, you know, and that is not what it looked like. It kind of looked like the computer screen looked like the wrapper of a bottle of Squirt. Like it was like lime green and like there was these like boxes popping up and it just looked it did look like she was hacking into the Matrix.
Matrix came out the same year, 1999, so kind of
Maybe
crazy.
yeah. Is it
Could
a
be cross promotion.
coincidence? It actually probably was.
She was texting Neo on the interweb. But yeah,
Uh,
okay, you said that was your favorite moment.
I think it was just all of that, like, yeah, the forensics part of the bottle. It was just kind of like silly but fun. I like a
It's just
mystery, so
hmm Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I think my favorite moment is whenever Paul Newman, Kevin Costner's dad, just got really angry for no good reason. It just got really intense about something.
yeah. Yeah, there were several in the trailer.
Yeah, there's one scene near the end of the movie where he goes to this diner, and the guy at the diner is like, "Why are you sitting there? That's not where you usually sit." And then he gets all pissed off. He's like, "All right, I'll sit where I usually sit." And then seems like he's about to like punch him for some reason. It's like a
And
complete
yeah, he grabs all of it. He had like all these plates and stuff, and he grabs all of it. He carries it with him to his other seat. Yeah,
yeah. He's clearly having like an emotional breakdown for some reason about where he's seating. Uh,
it's like at the beginning, anytime Paul Newman was on screen, like he was pretty chill, you know? He was just
yeah,
like,
he was like a friendly old guy, and then he gets so angry
yeah,
by the end.
yeah. And it truly did feel like there was no reason.
I think he's just disappointed in his son that he's not he's not locking down Robin Wright.
Yeah. Because he
That's
does say, he's like, if I was 150 years younger, you'd be in trouble. So he's like wants to live vicariously through his son,
yeah,
and his son isn't locking it down, so he's mad.
yeah, and he's like, "What I'd give to see grab her and see where things go." What does he say?
Something like that. Hold on. Find a way to hold on.
It's in the trailer. It's funny.
Give $1 million to see you grab onto that girl and figure it out as you go along.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I thought Paul Newman definitely brings some gravitas to the movie because he's a great actor, and it's just funny that he's in here.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that, the diner scene earlier today, and how just weird that was.
I
I
liked
feel
it.
like
How weird it was.
they just wanted to give him more screen time. So they're like, well, maybe he'll just get mad about stuff, and then we can throw that in there.
Yeah, it seems like they just improvise that on the day. It's like, well, maybe you can get mad about where you're sitting at the diner. Maybe you'll have too many
Uh,
plates.
they just told him to do whatever he wanted, and maybe that's what he wanted. I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I didn't think he was that good in this.
I just found him maybe entertaining, but more than uh
Yeah, entertaining for sure. But I was like watching it, I'm like, I like you, you know, I like your dressing
hmm
and I like you as a person, but I'm not super impressed with this particular performance, you
Yeah,
know,
it's not as good as Cool Hand Luke or anything, but
or his Oreos. I think I told you that Paul Newman Oreos are really good. They're called Numinos.
yeah, I need to try these. I'm
Yeah.
excited to try them.
I should have gotten some for us to eat while we watch this movie.
Maybe for the
Maybe
next
I'll,
Sparks movie, we'll have
yeah.
Nubinos.
Well, Numinos. Okay, that was your favorite thing was the gravitas of Paul Newman.
Getting angry.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I liked least about this movie. It was probably the back and forth, like we were talking about how it just kind of started to drag. And honestly,
hmm
the whole ending was my least favorite thing of any movie I've ever seen, maybe. Like it was so insane and bad.
Yeah, it was a very tacked on kind of tragic ending, it felt like.
Yeah, it really felt like this movie was going to have a happy ending. Like it just made sense that like okay, they figured it out finally. They're gonna get together. And then no. Nick said no way. No way, no
But
how.
isn't that the Sparks magic? Is that he's always got to have some tragedy in there? I mean, he already had a dead wife, but he needs more tragedy than that.
Yeah. Are we allowed to say what the ending is?
Yeah, I think so. Seeing as how this movie's like over 20 years old.
I'm gonna say that at the end, Costner decides he's gonna like go get his lady, but he has to finally officially say goodbye to his wife. Like he's decided he's moving on. His wife has died. He's gonna like throw one last letter into the ocean. But for some reason, he decides instead of just going to the cliff, which is right there, he has to go out on his sailboat and to go to like it's this place called like friggin' Windy Peak or something, or like something that sounds scary. And then out of nowhere, an insane storm rolls in. And then he's like doing okay. He's manning the ship or the sailboat or whatever. And then he spots this other boat, and the boat is like this family, and they're all falling out and dying.
Hmm.
And so Costner is like, obviously has to save them.
Yeah,
So he like finds a way to start saving this family. It's like two parents and a little girl, who we learned was played by Hayden Panettiere.
fun
So
fact.
he, yeah, fun fact. So he somehow saves. One of them died though, right? Like one of the parents didn't make it.
Yeah, I don't remember who survived for they all could have died for what I
Well,
remember.
it seemed like one parent and the little girl made it onto
Okay, so the dad
onto the boat, and then one of the parents and Kevin Costner perished.
drowned.
Yes.
He went down, as Paul Newman would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how he explains it to Robin Wright on the phone. That
Yeah, he just goes, and there was a storm and he went down. And I'm like, is that supposed to mean something to me? Because it doesn't.
Yeah, she had no questions. She knew what it meant.
She did. She broke down. So I thought that that whole thing was insane and terrible.
Yeah, Kevin died. I would agree that
Yeah.
that was pretty lame.
It was lame. He deserved a happy ending, I think, actually.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen them get together, you know. It seemed like they had mostly figured it out, and it seemed like he'd started to move on from his dead wife near the end, so he was a bit able to love again, maybe.
Yeah. And he was gonna move to Chicago, I think.
Yeah. There
He
were
was gonna
sailing opportunities out
he
in
was,
Chicago.
he was gonna sail his boat up there first and then sail along on Lake Michigan.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. That's a good least favorite moment. Did he have any surprises?
I mean, that was a surprise, honestly. I was truly shocked that that
That was the ending.
is how that went. Um, I don't know if there was much else that surprised me. I feel like I anticipated a lot of what was going to happen.
Hmm.
If you do you recall me anticipating things?
Yeah, you're always very good at that watching movies. You can spot things a mile a minute.
As soon as she walked up to him when they met, I was like, she's not going to tell him the truth. She's not going to tell him she's a journalist and she found his letter.
Yeah, she withholds that information for a long time.
Yeah.
And it turns into a big fight in Chicago when he finds the bottle in their dresser.
Yes. So they had this like whole romance and he didn't even know that she had like tracked him down intentionally. He thought she just stumbled into his life.
Hmm.
So, anyways, all that's to say that that wasn't a surprise to me.
Yeah, I'd say
I don't
my
know.
surprise was the actor who plays Hagrid with no beard, playing the kind of
I
saucy,
forgot.
sassy boss of Robin Wright at the Chicago
Yeah,
Tribune.
Robbie Coltrane.
Robbie
Clean
Coltrane beardless.
clean shaven Robbie Coltrane. Yeah. That was a fun to see.
That was a pleasant surprise.
It was that, yeah, that was a nice surprise. And also I think it really interesting the fact that Panettiere pops up, and I think this movie came out the same year as Remember the Titans, which she was also in, but in a much more significant role. I'm double checking. Oh no, it was the next year. Remember the Titans came out.
Okay.
She was,
She was a rising star.
yeah. Just thought that was interesting that you literally couldn't even see her because she's in this crazy storm. so did not know it was her. But then she really, comes to light in Remember the Titans. So
Never seen it.
what?
Is it worth seeing? Remember
Are
the
you
Titans?
serious? You have not seen Remember the Titans?
Is that a football movie?
I was just gonna say, do you know what it's about?
Oh, it's the same director as Uptown Girls. I just saw that movie last year. So that's
Remember the
exciting.
Remember the Titans is a good movie. It is worth watching and it is about football.
Okay, I'll put it in my list.
Right after we watched this, we both obviously went on Letterboxd and there were some pretty good reviews. I'm gonna find I saved a couple that I liked.
I only saved one. That's a 3.5 star review by Anthony. Pretty cool flick. Ending was sad, but Kevin slayed. I just think it's
Yeah.
funny because Kevin did not slay this movie. All he did was quietly mourn his dead wife and then fumbled away through a romance with Robin Wright and then died in a storm. It's not slaying to me, but I like the
Um,
review. I like the energy.
I saved a couple. One of them that I really liked was just bottle greater than sign USPS.
Bottle is better
So,
than the USPS.
yeah, the US Postal Service. I thought that was funny because, like, yeah, it's a great way to send a message, and you know that for sure the person that you want to get it will get it.
Yeah, more secure, not fragile at all.
There was another one I liked. This was 1 star, and it says, falling in love with a guy after reading romantic letters he wrote to someone else is legit insane. She's so delusional and scarily relatable. Which, yeah, I agree. I feel like that is insane, but also like really real.
So you could imagine doing what Robin Wright did. Put yourself in her shoes.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm a sad woman in her 30s. I would do that. Okay, I'm reading one more review. I'm sorry that you only had one, but I liked several.
That's all right.
Okay, this is a 1.5 star review that says, can you believe we got so many more Nicholas Sparks movies after this slog? It moves at the pace of a bottle floating to shore, and midway through you will certainly yell, "Don't care!"
Yeah,
So,
slog is a good way to put it, at least for the second half of the movie.
yeah. The second half definitely lost that the breakneck speed that it started at.
Ultimately, my letterbox review, 2.5 out of 5 stars. I was fine with it.
Yeah. I I also gave it 2.5. Yeah, it was fine. And the average rating is 2.9, so we're just like a little bit below what other people thought. Also,
Yeah.
this has only been logged on Letterboxd 21,000 times, which is pretty low.
Yeah, I will say I thought Robin Wright did a great job. It was kind of fun to see her in kind of a romantic movie mode, which I don't know. She kind of an actress that does a lot of different types of characters, but I don't know if I've seen her in this mode before. And
Yeah.
I thought she did a good job of being like the center of the movie, and she was charming, and she kind of made up for Kevin Costner's lack of energy and charisma with her. She was really trying hard to make it seem like they had chemistry.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. She's great. She did a great job. Her hair did a great job. She just had a cute little look the whole time. I I noticed that at her job, everybody there had like terrible 90s hairstyles, but
hmm
she looked like super cute and put together and perfect. So I was like,
Yeah,
that
she
makes
did, she
sense.
didn't look dated. She looked like someone you could see out in the world today.
She has main character energy, obviously.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, she's done a lot of great roles. Forrest Gump,
Yeah,
Princess Bride.
that's my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, I love that movie too. So, and what was she was she on the House of Cards or something like that? She like Kevin Spacey's wife on that.
Oh, you know what? I never watched that, but
Yeah, and Don't watch it now.
That sounds right. Okay, so this movie was not streaming anywhere for free, so I got it on DVD from the library.
Your
And
library.
yes, obviously, I don't watch a lot of stuff on DVD anymore. So it was fun to watch a DVD. And do you recall the game in the DVD menu?
Oh yeah, well there's like hidden bottles you can find throughout the DVD menu, and if you
Yeah.
clicked on them, you'd get little snippets of behind the scenes bull crap.
Yeah. And we insisted on finding all of them. There were five, and you had to go through literally everything in the menu, and it was not that fun. And the behind the scenes stuff was actually really boring. But once
Yeah,
we started, it was a mission I would not let go of, and we did find all the bottles. So
it was mostly just them explaining how they used green screen in some instances. And there's that
pretty much.
one scene where it looked really bad, and they seemed really proud of it. It's like, look how good the lighting is. It's like this looks so fake. But we did find
Um,
all of them. One of them was deeply buried in like the cast bios, and it was like actually you
the
had to like,
crew, it was like one of the producers' biographies.
yeah, that's how you got to find the last one where they talk about filming the epic storms scene where Kevin
Oh,
Costner dies.
oh my
But
God.
I'm glad we found them all,
Yeah,
and we both were like, we miss cute old DVD menus. It's nostalgia for that.
yeah. We need a fun fact.
Well, I have one.
You do. Okay, so we need to intro this.
Sparks fact.
Okay, so I thought that maybe it would be fun if we shared one fun fact about Nicholas Sparks in every episode. Um, I don't know how fun these facts are actually going to be because he seems like a pretty boring dude, but Zach has the fun fact for today.
Yeah, I think it's good for the first episode to start off with a basic fun fact. He was born on New Year's Eve, December 31st.
Oh, that's kind of actually is kind of interesting.
While everyone's celebrating the end of the year, he's celebrating his birthday. He's born
We're
in
celebrating the big
1965.
the beginning of his life. He's only 59. Like, I would imagine him being truly like ancient and decrepit. Like this man, I would have assumed was probably like 80.
Yeah.
I realize that this has made me sound incredibly ageist because I was like, this movie looks bad. It has old people in it. And now I'm like, Nicholas Sparks is a dinosaur. And he's not at all. He's only 59.
Sparks fact.
I think that wraps up what we planned on talking about, unless you have anything else.
Yeah, that's all I have. So our next movie, I believe, is going to be A Walk to Remember.
Stay tuned for that whenever we post that.
We will see you next time on Sparks Notes.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking this journey with us. Bye.
Bye.